non-executive members of the AfCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area, that presents a wider market. We shouldn't, this time around, be thinking when somebody sets up a business, you shouldn't be thinking about the small market of Botswana. And we're inculcating that entrepreneurial spirit in our businesses through support, both financial, of course it comes at a cost, both financial and equipping them with the necessary skills, especially the SMEs through Leah's efforts. We are also mindful of the fact that we can no longer rely on diamonds or minerals as our principal source of revenue. So economic diversification is at the center of our efforts. A few of our parastatals are also seized with the responsibility of attracting foreign direct investment. The Botswana, the BITC, CESA, and SPERU to some extent, we are saying it is time for us to prepare our businesses to play in the international space with the right type of support. We also realize that the reasons for our past success as a government or as a country cannot be sustained going into the future. So we have embraced the idea of change in the way we do things, adopting new ways of doing things, especially digitization and all these developments that are taking place globally. One other thing that we realize is that traditionally, Botswana does not have an entrepreneurship culture, or it's inadequate. So part of our efforts is invested in inculcating that culture within our business. And that's why Bolea have been set up to direct its efforts at inculcating that culture at the informal and SME level. Over the years, it has proven that a good part of our doing business environment is not conducive for business, and we continue to amend our laws. For instance, Honorable Committee and Honorable Chair will be seeking your support to put through three or four pieces of legislation through the coming session of Parliament: the Liquor Act, the Trade Act, the Gambling Act, and the Economic Inclusion Act. In terms of the budget, budgetary constraints have militated against some of our efforts, but we are committed to doing the best despite severe budgetary constraints. We are in the process of reprioritizing our budget to direct resources where they will make better impact. Our position as a ministry is that we do not count the level to which the budget has been run down. While it counts, we rather prioritize budget effectiveness, what the budget allocations have actually delivered, not how much we have spent. And part of the culture that we are instilling within our parastatals and within our departments is they have to demonstrate that these budgetary allocations have produced something at the end of the day within the 12 months they have been assigned to deliver. And that will become a critical feature of our annual performance plan. We are currently seized with amending in a sequenced way all our laws, especially the laws that affect the ease of doing business. And we are alive to the fact that other laws that exist elsewhere in other sectors necessarily have to be amended so that there's congruency and consistency. So what we've been doing through our legal department, we have set up conversations with the rest of government to identify all those laws that affect the ease of doing business. And there's an expectation or a plan to hold a legal pitso, I think before the end of June, such that we are able to identify those laws that probably militate against businesses doing what they are supposed to do. At the same time, we are identifying laws. We will necessarily look at the regulations and the strategies that are in place, and of course the policies. And lately, we have realized the importance of subjecting all these instruments to a regulatory impact assessment to help us identify the strengths and weaknesses or the gaps that these pieces of this instrument might contain. And in terms of, Mr. Chair, I just about to wind up. We are also repurposing and revitalizing our state-owned enterprises. There is a rationalization roadmap that is led by the Ministry of Finance. And having 12 parastatals, we are a very big customer of the Ministry of Finance. We have done some preliminary work in terms of hiring experts to look at all our parastatals. Because if you look at them closely, there are areas of overlaps. There are areas where we think there are redundancies, and there are issues of relevance. So we are looking at that with urgency, and the expectation is that before too long, during the course of the year, we will arrive at a situation where they are put on the right track. Lastly, Mr. Chairman and Honorable Committee, we consider ourselves to be an employee-centered administration, especially at the time of transition where we are managing two huge responsibilities. We are currently engaging with staff so that they are placed appropriately. And for us to do that, we are doing a number of things concurrently. We are looking at our skills mix. A skills audit will be undertaken soon. We are looking at office space. We are looking at the budget, whether the budget will allow us to do what we intend to do. We are looking at, there are complaints, some of them, a good number of them, most of them coming from the past. We are doing the best we can to address those because we want a workforce that will be seized with the mandate of the ministry and not spending time processing complaints and grievances. We have had a few interactions with the unions, the workers' representatives, and we believe with more concerted efforts, we should be able to overcome most of the issues. But like I say, Mr. Chair, we are in transition. We hope we will overcome these issues before long. And coming to an end, sir, there have been developments, or a few we would want to, during the course of the examination or proceedings, make a few corrections to our reports, mainly typos, and the head of accounting will share, the chief accountant will share with the honorable committee. And very lastly, at the very last.
This is the third last.
Yeah. It demonstrates how big the ministry is. We have a few deputy permanent secretaries downstairs, if there is need to provide detail in some of the submissions we have made, we will call upon them if permitted to do so. I know there's limited space here, but being a big ministry, we want to do service. We want to make sure that we have dealt with these issues substantively. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Raleboga, accounting officer, Kamaswera, tota mme mo letsatsing la gompieno re tabo re sa ye ko ba ba ko tlase re na le lona ha ba batla go hitisetsa molaetsa ba ka o hitisa mme re na le lona ka bobedi hape le honorable members, it's time to engage. Honorable Paul.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Rema Simecha. In your words, where the ministry is big, may I start off by asking what is your staff complement?
We, in terms of staff complement, we have an establishment of 772 positions. The bodies, those in post are 692. So this means we are carrying a vacancy rate of 94 currently, or 12.2%. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You do have under your, perhaps that's why you say the ministry is big, you have about 12 departments and you have about 12 parastatals. Is there no duplication of roles, first among your departments and secondly among the parastatals under your ministry?
I don't believe that there are significant overlaps in mandate between departments and parastatals. Departments are not necessarily implementing delivery units.
No, can I make it clear? Mm-hmm. Among your departments, you have 12 departments. Is there not duplicity of role within the 12 departments that you have? That's one. Two, you have under your ministry 12 parastatals. Question is, among the 12, is there no duplicity of roles?
I now understand. There's certainly areas of overlap, and that is why we are seized, during this transition period, we are seized with undertaking an organization and method exercise. We have asked the Department of Public Service Management, we have enlisted their assistance to look at the departments we have currently. Also, a good number of departments came from the former Ministry of Entrepreneurship. There are certainly areas of overlap. The same thing applies for our parastatals. If you look at BITC, Botswana Investment and Trade Center, SPEDU, CESA, there are aspects of their responsibilities relate to investment promotion or attracting foreign direct investment. And that's why the rationalization roadmap has identified them as areas that we should look at. If you look at Leah and CESA, Leah and SEDA, even though naturally they should be doing distinctly two different things, there are some thoughts that they may not necessarily have to be two separate entities, but that will be determined as we implement the roadmap. But there are certainly duplications among departments and among the SOEs.
I'm a little concerned if you are still to go look and create or build up some roadmap, because in your report, you've indicated that you have some strategies that you are yet to implement, and some of these go as far as 2021. So if, for the purpose of merging some of these parastatals, you still need time to draw a roadmap, I think we are in for a long haul. Question here is, does each one of these parastatals have its own independent board?
Each state-owned enterprise has its own independent board. But in terms of the roadmap, maybe let me just clarify that there's an existing roadmap. It's a broad roadmap that is led by the Ministry of Finance. And as part of that, we have identified a few of our parastatals that would need looking into. As I speak now, we hired experts to help us look at that. We have reports that we are considering now as to how to move forward. So the roadmap is there. And they have identified areas where we could improve that will actually inform how we move forward. Thank you, Mr.
So who has to implement what the roadmap carries?
We are currently implementing the outcome of those pieces of work that we undertook, consistent with the roadmap as a ministry.
We are reminded all the time that the public service wage bill is way too high. One would want to know whether this includes remunerations that go towards board members.
As a percentage of the wage bill, I wouldn't characterize remuneration that goes to board members as substantial, because you are talking about probably annually something less than 200 million. And as we speak now, if I remember correctly, the total wage bill is in billions. It's probably 20.
Let's focus on your ministry.
20. Sorry?
Let's just deal with your ministry, not the entire public service.
The same thing will apply for my ministry, because the reason why the board fees were probably increased a few years ago was to attract requisite or appropriate skills and competencies. Remember, these board members are not volunteers, honorable member. They have other things to do. They have businesses to run. And if you dip into their valuable time, the recognition was that they need to be compensated for that, because they are bringing in necessary skills and competencies to the boardroom. So I wouldn't characterize that as excessive. I think it's appropriate.
He mentioned some figure that I thought was quite staggering. Board fees, are you saying they could account for about 200 million? Is that I heard you properly?
Well, I don't have the figures here, but the last time we did this for the entire government, I think it was over 200 million.
Oh, for the entire government?
Yes, but the Minister of Finance can confirm later.
Okay.
For the entire boards of parastatals.
Okay. Thank you. 12 parastatals, 12 boards. On average, per year, how much is one board member compensated for, in your word?
It's difficult to, I don't have the figures right now, but I can generate them, because because it depends on the number of sittings.
No, per sitting. an average per sitting, how much will it be?
I can find out quickly through my DPS corporate services. I don't have the numbers, so.
Mr. Chair, the PS is just running away. It should be in his head that one member, a board member, sitting allowance for one sitting Kibukai. Please, we need an answer on this one. You know, definitely.
I thought
County office, potso ke gore mme hela ene board member ha sita hangwe hela o amogela bokae rona ra itse gore parliament ha ba ka ba sitile ba amogela bokae yana ga itse gore board member tsa gago tsone di amogela bokae ke duma le re motaosane this one you should have it.
On average, without being exact, it's around 4,000 per sitting, subject to confirmation because it varies from board to board. There are tiers. There are those boards that earn more than others, depending on whether they are characterized that, depending on the category they are placed in.
So on average, each board member receives 4,000 per sitting. Who determines the frequency at which these boards sit?
The frequency is determined by the establishing piece of legislation. You will always, in most cases, you will find it there, and most of the time it's 4 times in a year, and probably 2 special meetings. I think it's about one every 6 times in a year.
The 12 parastatals, you do have at the helm of each a CEO. What is the average salary? We are concerned with the wage bill. I mean, so we need to get to the bottom of this. What is the average salary for a top executive in these parastatals?
In terms of where they are pegged, on average, CEOs of state-owned enterprises under the Ministry of Trade and Entrepreneurship are at F1 level, just below the scale of permanent secretaries. Of course, they have a number of allowances which differ on the basis of the parastatal itself.
Do they have company mobility? Somebody was calling vehicles mobility. Are they provided with mobility, and if so, at what value mobility are they provided?
They have one of their benefits ke koloi, a vehicle provided by the state-owned enterprises. And I'm aware that government has recently taken a decision, I think last year or the year before, for them to be restricted to the equivalent of a Toyota Fortuner. If I recall correctly, I think there was a decision by government that a vehicle of the value, the equivalent of a Fortuner.
Maybe just a quick one. Onobuaka gore ba phekilwe at around F1. Re masimega. Onor ba phekilwe F1. Akere batho hela ba itse F1 thota go twa bokae go twa madi a kana ka. In average, I mean, what are we talking about?
F1 is less than.
On average, is how much?
It's between 60 and 65,000 per month.
65,000.
between 60 and 65,000 pula per month, somewhere there, excluding allowances.
Okay.
So at F1, where's the PS rank? I mean, scale, F1?
F0.
Okay, thank you very much. So these CEOs at F1 and a vehicle, do they have PACs that would surpass that of a PS? Does PS also have a motor vehicle as one of their benefits?
Thank you, Honorable Member. PSs have access to a vehicle, but not in the same manner as the benefit granted to CEOs of parastatals. Of course, they have other allowances. In totality, the earnings in totality of SOE parastatal CEO or parastatal CEOs, the remuneration is more than what the permanent secretaries get in total.
So the total package is more than that of the permanent secretaries, more than FO.
That is correct.
Okay. What is the average, let me say, of the total package? Kind of, we are talking about 12 parastatals here. I think that is why Honorable Member is so concerned. The average package for a CEO in the parastatals that you have mentioned. Tell me.
I'll talk average figures because I don't have the exact numbers with me. I would have produced them if I was asked to before this Honorable Chair. I think it's...
But you see, County Officer, some of these things you must just know, like Honorable Mtausan said. Just on average, you know, we are not asking like, tell us the exact detail up to the last 10 days. We are saying the total package so that we have an idea as to how much is spent on chief executive officers of the 12 parastatals.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think at a minimum, CEOs earn 100,000 minimum.
You can go ahead, sir.
On average.
I guess you got it.
So that is without other allowances, just the basic?
Well, with allowances.
Yeah.
Because like I say, it depends on which SOE you are talking about. There are others that earn a lot more than this.
Okay. So the average is around 100,000. I think you got. You can proceed.
I got the gist of what I wanted.
Yes.
There's a new kid on the block, a new parastatal, the Gambling Authority. How much has it disbursed, or how much money is out there, or has it made so far? It's some industry that a lot of Botswana don't even know how it runs, myself included.
As you're pointing out, Honorable Member, it's a fairly new parastatal. And probably maybe let me take this opportunity to explain that even before it was set up, there was already gambling taking place. I think what the benefit of having this institution now is that now gamblers, we are able to have a sense of how many people are gambling. Because some of the gamblers do it online and they are not very visible to the regulator. But because now we are doing things in the open, they are able to come through. In terms of what we have, the Gambling Authority has remitted. The numbers show that, I will mention probably the latest numbers. in December 2024, in December 2024, they remitted 679,000. Or in January, relating to the month of December. And then in January, 556,000. February, 456,000. March 2025, 1,085,000. April 2025, 1.88 million. So far, if you add up those numbers, they give a total of 4.6 million. However, in terms of what has come through since 2022, and the numbers here show that 52 million has been collected or remitted since May 2022 to date. Those are the numbers that they may not be audited because some of them are fairly recent, but those are the numbers that we have now.
So one would assume that there's a system that determines how many people are bettors. Do you know the number of people who play in this industry as bettors, that is?
Yes, there's a system of registering, yes, because when you bet, you need some form of registration. So at any point in time, the gaming authority should be able to know how many people are playing this game.
Any Botswana playing a key role in the industry?
I understand that a good number of Botswana have taken to this game. They are active. The numbers of who are involved, because it's increasing every day, we should be able to produce that if given the time. But the number is increasing, and the Gambling Authority has assured government that they have measures in place to deal with the after effects, such that we have what they term responsible gambling, such that it doesn't affect families negatively. They have done a lot of stakeholder engagements, and they have measures in place to deal with the after effects of excessive gambling.
Just mention one of those. One. What have they done?
It's explaining education, explaining to stakeholders or potential gamblers or even interested role players what gambling is all about and the dangers probably of overdoing it.
Are you aware that not all gamblers go to some center? Some do it online. Do they reach out? Do they reach down to those people? Because we hardly ever hear any educational program on some radio station teaching people about responsible gambling. What is it that you can point out? What about those who are now addicts? What do they do about such people?
Okay.
You said, yeah, just leave the mic on.
I believe the Gambling Authority has actually done more in terms of sensitization. And if we look at the amount of activity, even on social platforms, they are quite visible. But maybe they haven't done it enough in terms of where they should be. But this paper had some Motsamiko paper that has been in the public domain for a while now.
Akandi officer, Baraka Utwale Center, Uleva Hanetale, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Is it okay?
They also, I understand, offer counseling services. Go tlhalosetsa batho ka kgang e ya go the gaming and gambling activity.
Can you share with the nation where these centers are?
Well, they do road shows.
Counseling, accounting officer? I mean, a roadshow is something that comes, you need a place where somebody in their own chest can go to and say, I need counseling on this.
I'm not aware of any physical structure that has been set up for these, but my assumption is that counseling can be done even in non-physical structures.
Can you conclude that there isn't any in existence?
Well, personally, I'm not aware of any physical structure, but I know there's an intention and some effort has been put into making people aware of the dangers of excessive gambling.
Would you agree that there is need to have some form of structure, some address where these people can go for counseling? Should there be a need for that?
Absolutely, Honorable Member. I think if gambling becomes problematic, or even before it manifests such things as indicated by you, I think that we ought to be preemptive and create those facilities. In any case, gambling process should be able to cater for that. If we are deliberate about, if we are concerned about containing the potential risk of excessive gambling, we should be able to take part of the process of gambling and set up those centers.
We should set up and establish a center for counseling or any gambling-related challenges that the nation or some people within might experience.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pologolo. Arendrele ha a member of the PAC arrived. Auka ikizisi Botswana rights.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Kibidu Agutwe Le Petri Lesedi, Member of Parliament for Soroe South.
Thank you, sir. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Mail Accounting Officer and your team.
Good morning.
You talked about policies and laws under review. In question, how does the Act, I'm talking of the Economic Inclusion Act, how does the Act and its upcoming review address employment creation for citizens, especially in light of persistent youth unemployment?
Thank you, Honorable Member. One of the key intentions of the Economic Inclusion Act is to make sure that Botswana businesses are in the mainstream of the economy, is to make sure that Botswana businesses are active in the economy. And part of the reason why we are reviewing it is that we have identified some of the bottlenecks that are there. If you take the Spedu region, for instance, Kana Spedu, a good number of those companies to Spedu, we want to equip them to be able to export. And the efforts that are put in, if you include more citizen companies or citizens in the mainstream economy, and you support that effort, public procurement, there's currently a 30% reservation scheme for the companies as paid. And there are other reservation schemes that are meant to make sure that Botswana or citizen companies play in the mainstream economy. By using the purchasing power of government, RTS paid, for instance, by using the 30% purchasing power of government, it will empower these companies because driven by the huge budget they are puso. And by so doing, if they expand their activities, one, they'll be able to employ more people, especially the youth. Two, more budget going to them or more spending power going to them will make sure that there's more economic activity that's contributing towards the growth of the economy. So this is why we are part of the reason for looking at the Act anew, having identified those gaps. Force public entities, departments, and parastatals to buy from citizen companies because they are not able to compete with the well-resourced international companies. So employment will result, or more employment will result if you give them more jobs. That is the whole idea. That's part of the idea, and it's happening already. I'm aware that very soon a statutory instrument will be issued compelling public entities and ministries and departments to buy from citizen companies, including the Spedu area.
What has been the impact of Spedu's efforts?
Just a little. Your name, Economic Inclusion Office, is it up and running? Do you have the coordinator? Do you have the regulations in place? Because you're already talking about review, so
Mr. Chair, the Economic Inclusion Department has been set up, and we have a coordinator and his technical team. They have revised, bringing in new things to the economic inclusion regulations.
You have them in place?
Well, there will be, they are available, they haven't been implemented yet because they are new. But now...
Ramasime,
yes.
Let's just get this straight. The regulations, the Economic Inclusion Act, are they in place? Are they being used as we speak?
They are not in place because they are new.
Ramasime, Economic Inclusion Act regulations, are they in place? Are they are the receiver?
They are not in place as we speak.
They are not in place.
No, Mr. Chair.
And you are already reviewing the Act.
We are reviewing the Act.
Okay. And then you will have regulations after the review of the Act.
That is correct. That's the sequence.
Okay. How do you see in place these regulations? Has it disadvantage Botswana?
We have realized that that's why the Act is being expedited on an agency basis. It's one of the candidates for consideration by the next session of Parliament, concurrently with the regulations.
I sense a lack of commitment to this economic inclusion. But
sorry, Pele Chair.
Oh, okay.
Just right in.
Yeah.
This Act is fairly new. It has never been implemented, but it is being reviewed. What is it that we have identified? Was a test still a jang? Hore abobona hore Act there you talk hore review. Lo no reviewing mo.
We have regular interactions with the role players, especially businesses. We have structures where we interact. and they've pointed out to some of the significant bottlenecks that are presented by this piece of legislation,
Such as?
the lack of enforcement of reservation schemes. For instance, if I may give an example, go na le di reservation scheme tse leng gore aka ko the Sperry area, where some manufacturers have complained gore some government departments do not purchase from them as intended. Only 30% reservation scheme. So we are saying this is one area that Hongwe is not articulated well. I think it's not articulated well in the Act. So for us to make it clearer, or some of the clauses of the Act clearer, is part of the reason why we are reviewing the Act.
A communique will be issued compelling public entities or Botswana. You said something like that, which caught my attention. I'm very interested in that one.
It's a statutory instrument.
Okay. When is it? When is it maybe coming?
Because it's a procurement matter, I don't have the exact date, but I'm aware that the Minister of Finance is seized with that as we speak.
Oh,
that will compel, because it's issued in terms of the Public Procurement Act.
Okay.
The custodians are the Minister of Finance.
Okay. Yeah. So we should be expecting it anytime soon, or we'll engage finance, is fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, Honorable Lesedi, for you zapping the floor from yourself.
No, there is no problem. Accounting officer, what has been the impact of SPEDU's efforts on the overall economic well-being of the Selebi-Pique region?
The impact of having SPEDU in the region over the years, I believe we have not been able to deliver on what was intended, owing to a variety of reasons. Currently, as we speak, we are constituting the SPEDU board, body as SPEDU. Part of the difficulty, SPEDU doesn't have a chief executive officer at the moment. We are seized with searching for a chief executive officer and the board. Hayana body as we speak. Prioritizing. So to a large extent, SPEDU has not achieved as intended because of some of these structures that are not in place.
SPEDU isala e thokile boarding, isala e thokile executive feeling.
For a few years, it hasn't had a chief executive officer for a few years.
Accounting officer. SPEDU is not chief executive officer. It's not board. I think they're fairly simple questions, executive.
Yes, I think for between 2 and 3 years, as we speak, we have a caretaker CEO, and the board doesn't exist.
Board.
Between 2 and 3 years.
Between 2 and 3 years.
Yes, because agree, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
You had a full complement of the board before. That's why I agree between 2 and 3 years. But all in all, since 2023. Since
Honorable?
2023.
Honorable, go ahead.
Ora ore ya ka ha o ruhatsa in this 2 to 3 years go sena board tota an ora o speed o sentse se ira ingela ko Celebi region mo dingwageng tsenetse.
One of SPEDU, despite the absence of a board, have been supporting the businesses at Celebi. One of the things that they have done, which they have completed recently, is to build a catalog of products and services that are offered in the SPEDU area. And this is done solely such that public entities, ministries and departments, the SOE, are aware or a SPEDU area who produce what type of products and services, such that when they are compelled through the statutory instrument that I mentioned earlier, they will be able to know which we can compel them to the products so they have compiled a catalog and a database of all SPEDU companies who produce the products and services. Another idea is for SPEDU companies to be able to export and facilitate that to export. One of the things that we are currently developing is a supplier development agreement, such that most stages they will be able to compete even regionally or globally. So the catalog is one of the things that they have done so far. They are currently seized with, together with the ministry, with developing supplier development program. To improve the way they do things, so that they are able to compete. So despite the board, despite the absence of a CEO, they have been doing something.
Does the ministry ever encounter reports of corruption, nepotism, or favoritism in loan approval by SEDA?
The ministry has received allegations which have been followed up. One of the things that is in the public domain is the fact that for the whole of the public sector, a firm of international experts or forensic auditors have been hired by government. And necessarily, both SEDA and all our parastatals, we have submitted a request to the Office of the President. I agree, the Ministry for State President gave never commission and this audit to include all our parastatals and departments in that national forensic audit. Yes, we do receive such issues either by individuals or even those that perceive SEDA to have not, or SEDA to have aggrieved them. We receive them almost every day, and we process them accordingly. And I can assure this committee that we'll make sure that we get to the bottom of all those, whether there are allegations or these reports are factual. I think the processes that are ongoing will be able to reveal to us, and that will inform our remedies, our way forward.
Chairman, I have the last one.
Thank you. Last one.
What is the total financial implications of converting all Chama loans into a grant?
I would say if the budget would be, Chema would be anything to go around 500 million. Because I'm saying this because about over close to 240 million has been dispersed to Chema beneficiaries. We have just about 190 something million loans that have been approved. And there are others, I think, so I think the total could be estimated at if I were to use the budget as a proxy, around 500 million.
You are saying recently, literally, it's le naela batho di loan is a Chema.
Chema has been closed as a loan facility. In a carry, the latest figures we have provided by SEDA, somewhere between 240 and 250 million has been dispersed, if I remember correctly.
Actually, that is a very common question, Honorable. Honorable member
Biolongore applied and were successful. The government has taken the position that those applications that have been approved will be reviewed. I agree circumstances may have changed. You may have wanted to put up a business somewhere.
But on accounting officer, Kana, you were talking of 190 million. The application is a long approved immediately funding. Ke go no ho reng o tlhalosetsa Botswana reng because ya ka honorable chairna a heta ka yona ba tshwenya ba batla go itse gore ka gore le bone ba approve. What is happening? Ya ka gore mo neng ke botsa gore a le santse le ntsha ke wena o bua thata ka 240 but o buile ka 190 ke gone mo go 190.
Here, Mr. Chairman, the 193 successful applications, government has taken a decision for it. Because circumstances may have altered, but they are still eligible for funding. But the key thing here, they will be reassessed because the cost may have changed. So they are still eligible for funding.
So bone batho ba mi bata fundiwa a ona le idea ya gore funding ya bone ba ba saletseng ko morago e ka simolla leng a madi a teng a ka re buana a teng kganyela ke go ba reviewa gore go bona le gore a mme ba ka tswella ba neelwa one madi a ne ba kopile.
I can confirm that the commitment is there, but Mr. Chair, the reality on the ground is that we have significant budgetary constraints. So while the commitment is there and it shall be fulfilled, it will depend on the availability of the budget. So it may not be immediate, but eventually the commitment is to fund these when money becomes available. If the economy improves, the commitment will be fulfilled. We don't have a budget.
We don't have a budget.
We don't.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Me ke ne ke ikopela yala mo PS gore ka gore re dipotso dintsi re bantsi gongwe potso ha etla o ya rabe yala o tlhamaletse ga gona molato ga re le ke go isa kwa le gore we want the truth, we want even to help you when necessary. So please, some questions tota ga o di arabe go bua boammaaruri, so we need you to answer so that we can come up with a solution if there is need. Thank you, sir. But my first question, as a ministry o eleng gore o taskilwe ka go leka go tisa dikgwebo le go leka go create employment, how many jobs have you created so far in the past maybe 2 years?
Mr. Chair, let me just open the relevant page.
I think Roman figure 7 on the executive summary.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
You allude to that, right? Roman figure 7 in the executive summary. Is that what you're looking for?
There was something on jobs. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
We have seen that progressively, if we may turn over to the executive summary, Honorable Member, paragraph 4, page 7 at the bottom. Financial year 2022-23, we overachieved in terms of our target was 6,903. The actual jobs created were 9,100.
Okay, which sectors?
In terms of that disaggregation, I don't have the disaggregation, but it's all sectors that we have facilitated.
Okay, BDC as one of your parastatals.
Sorry, Honorable Person. Can we have that report there, or which sectors and what kind of jobs at a later stage we are Secretariat?
Thank you
We
very
will
much.
work on that.
Thank you. You have these parastatals like BDC. How do you say they are doing so far as employment creation and helping businesses? I'm saying this because there is an issue of Lobatse dairy something. Is it?
Milk Africa.
Milk Africa. That project has been there for years. The infrastructure there was complete and everything was just waiting for cattle to come in and start operations. How do you say BDC, is there any need for BDC to continue being funded by government?
I wouldn't characterize BDC as receiving funding from government. BDC is the investment arm of government. BDC mobilizes its own finances, largely, of course, with the support of government. For instance,
Are you saying BDC is not getting any subvention from government?
BDC does not get subvention from government.
Oh, that's nice.
No.
Okay, but it's an arm of government. Madi a spendang mo ditirong tsa go leka go tisa ditiro e tshwana le yone ya Milk Africa. What's your take on that? It has been stagnant for years.
Honorable Member, BDC has its own unique challenges, partly on account of suboptimal performance by the entities it financially supports. But in terms of, because I agree support the large-scale businesses, in terms of the question that you have asked, Milk Africa, I understand, is operational. Whether it will sustain the way it's performing now, but I'm aware that it's really. But in the overall businesses businesses that have received support, adequate support, financial support or loans from BDC, a good number of them have met with challenges, some not because of their own failings. For instance, BDC has invested heavily in Coma Energy, the company that mines coal, Kahamitiye. But because of the market out there, the global market out there, and quite a substantial amount of money has been extended in terms of loans to my energy, the company is facing problems because of market conditions globally. So there are all sorts of these challenges that come every now and then. And as we speak, I think BDC is in the process of looking at its pipeline, its portfolio of projects that it's supporting, and assessing how best to support those.
Okay, thank you, sir. Competition and Consumer Authority. Ronaldo kgwebo tse di buang tsa Batswana. Di shopanyana tse di nyenyane tsa Batswana tse. Di tswetswe. Di tswetswe ka gore go lebega gore yaanong batho ba tshwana le bo di wholesale ya ka bo trans bo sefalana bo mang jaanong they are no longer doing wholesale business ba setse yaanong ba ira ka some retailers ba khona go rekisa dilonyana ka bongwe hela you can go and do some groceries go sefalana, you can do some groceries go trade world lo bokgakala bo le kae ka go leka go tsosa Batswana ka gore gantsi ke tlhela ke utlwa gore le letsa gore le thusa di SMMEs and ga go lebege le dira sepe ka this kind of competition e leng gore itsisiwa ke tsone these wholesalers. What's your take on that?
I think we daily honorable member, it's a worrying trend where big retailers are now taking the space. Yeah, the small operators or small businesses. And one of the things that we are doing, and we are doing a lot of things, to relook at the licensing regime, because we want to make sure that each one of these plays in their space. And we are very concerned that only this encroachment into the SME space, small retailer space, by the big conglomerates, is within our radar. In our annual performance plan, we will be dealing with these to make sure that SME are supported through our regulatory regime. Even through, as I speak, we have come up with a concept paper which we think will lead to a revitalized and refocused SME policy. That's why Chema has been discontinued as a loan facility. We will be coming up with a much more pragmatic program that will cater for this SMEs as early as July.
Go na le dishopo di teng mo Gaborone mo hela di tletse tsa ma China. These shops ga ba gana go dirisa some swiping, ga ba batla go swipe. Batho ba le dirang ka bone. Don't you think this is a way of evading tax ka tsela epe? I mean, evading tax ele bone this thing has been going on for a very long time, and we have been complaining about this. It has long been brought to your attention. What measures have you put in place to make these people do the right things? You can imagine kids are not going to taking 50,000 cash.
I couldn't agree with you more, Honorable Member. It's concerning what in this date and era, the shop or operators, they still operate on a cash basis like that. There are many risks, I agree. But what I'm aware of, what I can confirm, we're in dialogue, especially with BRS, Ministry of Finance, to make sure that these type of arrangements are phased out. Because you cannot determine with certainty whether they are paying the appropriate tax. You don't know how much has flowed through their shops. Very, very urgently, Mr. Chair.
Sir, concrete action hela ga iyo ona bua ka di wholesale le tsone khanya telentse le setse morago ya no o tsene mo khaye le ntse di setse morago no bala tsele di setse morago go ise go active mo khanya teng. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Ya bo hello ke bo ha khanya speed ya ka ntse le bua gore ga ena bode ga ena ga le bone go le botlhokwa gore ya ka government go mpie le gore o le ka go decentralize le dire gore le nele di council e tswa gore e tswa mo go tsamaisweng ke central government se kai mayor a tshwana lwa se le bipikwe o council chair a tshwana lwa bubirwa inne bone the board members ba tsene mo boding ya speed go ka gore gompieno re bua thata ka decentralization. So don't you think that's the route to go? Because if you gompieno go lebega lena le mathata a go tlhopha the board members. So what's your take on that one?
I think we are amenable to any suggestion, but I will be hesitant to take public officers or public institutions, particularly council, to run institutions like SPEDU. But what I can also assure Kekore, the bulk of the board members, a good number of them will be coming from the SPEDU area because they know the area well. They are familiar with the area. And lastly, on that point, Kekore, good corporate governance suggests that independent board members would do a better job than those that have interest, a particular interest in the organization, because they are impartial. When they take decisions, they don't bring baggage into taking those decisions. So I would lean more on the side of recruiting independent board members than probably drawing from a pool of people from the council.
But we are a government. The council, the central government. This SPEDU thing is more kaulo. Yeah, the Bubirwa Silibi Pique area, Bubirwa and Chapo North, you know. So I don't see any reason why these councils to do this investment. Kana yanu, what you are doing is we are competing with these councils. So necessarily independent. And they have little in the market to try and do any investment. So don't you think a few parastatals instead of having so many parastatals?
I guess it's a matter that you want to take home. Obviously, there is issues of governance, corporate governance, but mme gape go na le dikgang tsone tsa gore ga gongwe ka re that is a localized thing, maybe gongwe le ka bona ka le ka involvang ka teng di-council, not necessarily le bone ba ba ranang, but how do you involve them? Because o itela council gongwe ko bobirwa ko phikwe ba sa itse sepe gore go diragalang ka speak nako e ntse a ba itse actually ba nna ba bidiwa once in a while gote re tyo go le briefa ke re take it home and think around it o inele ba bangwe le e buisang.
I agree, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mugler. It was my last question, but it must be a food for thought because Harry Libile, le mapatari buaka decentralization, okara toko hore, a lot of activities, kore bo transport boeing, hanne madia wana linkudi kaulunzi onge transport hore, eberekela hore, the Sleepy Town Council. Leoneka wana kure madia uthaku again that region that would help a lot, but this one ke feel gore e tshwantse gore yone o etse mo ha go tota speedu e helele cancele di cancele tse di kwatsele e le tsone tse le gore di na le sabe se stona mo go tsone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mutausani. Ramabeo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Karolebo Arbuele go elia gambling, gambling. Unaure this system here, this monitoring system is in place.
In terms of knowing how many players are there, yes, the arrangements are in place.
Okay.
Yes.
You spoke about the numbers of Baba Betang. What else?
I think the system, because now you will be in a position to determine the number of players in the market, you will follow even the financial flows, what passes through the system, and you will determine. Gambling Authority makes money out of these gambling activities. You will know at any point in time where, as the numbers grow or reduce, because they get licenses to play, especially operators. You would have a much more reliable database of both the operators, le gambling, and the financial flows, and be able, of course, to know whether these businesses are taxed appropriately. Radio operator.
System e ga thusa gape jang ka eng gape o buile ka tse tharo tse di buileng ina le mosolo mo gape.
I think even the Gambling Authority as a regulator, if you are aware of how many operators are there and the number of active participants, it helps you with regulation. Le kganye ya gore kana gambling is a habit of how to make the necessary interventions if there's excessive gambling, if it starts affecting families, for instance. You as the Gambling Authority, because gambling is quite it's a viable business. How you can actually take a portion of that levy and address those negative things that arise because of doing it a little bit too much. So I believe what is in place now should be able to help us do that.
Okay, Piers. So you're saying this system to track player behavior, for instance, check baba risky by they are too addicted, can it block them? A system
I don't have a name, but the point I'm trying to make, Honorable Member, how na le visibility over those that are actively taking part. While you may not necessarily be able to put your finger on those that are probably negative, I agree it's a behavior. It will manifest in different ways more individually. If I were a gambling authority, I wouldn't be able to tell whether the gambling habits are A or B are affecting their social well-being. But I think because it's a new thing, Botswana is undergoing evolution, is undergoing growth. I think as we understand the phenomena more, we should be able to put appropriate interventions to deal with some of the negative, unintended consequences of gambling. So,
okay, thank you, PS. I think what I'm getting from you, Gore, the system is I don't think system is gompieko. Because ke pelela gore go nka bo setse o itse le gore bitswa mang. Ke tsa gore we have identified and agree gore gambling is risky, e dingalo e gona go thuwa malapa e gona go dira dilo tse di maswe. Jaanong ke tsa gore from here, PS, go and look into this system here. E botlhokwa thata. E ka baballa Botswana. Gambling ke industry le gore e teng ya letlalesa tshwantse gore nne teng. We welcome it. I also welcome it. But re ska ra tlogela e tla go nna ka kare yanong ke drug mo go ba bangwe. So please look into the system here. Dipego tse di tla mo rona di supa gore system e ga e yo PS. Ga ke na go supa ka monwana gompieko ka gore ke tla solofela gore o bo ga go dira homework. Next PAC re tla buisana ka one gape. But please look into the system here e baganye go because go supega gore ga e yo mongane.
we will do that.
Thank you, sir.
ke malen go ta tlhokagala gore o informe thata ka dikgang tsone tsa gambling le tse dingwe gape ka gore there's yet another committee, different one from ours, that will be focusing on statutory bodies. That committee is headed by Honorable Arafat Khan. So maybe coming soon. Go ahead, sir.
I give one to him, but I'll take up one after.
Yeah, thank you very much. On the same system, PS, are you aware that it is provided for Momolaong with the Act, the Gambling Authority? And one may want to know, is it not a prerequisite, or there has to be a system in place, a monitoring system in place, before OCA provider or issuer license to an applicant? Thank you.
I agree with you, Honorable Member. Those checks and balances should be there. I agree that for purposes of enforcement, it should be provided for explicitly in the law. At this stage, I'm not too sure whether it's explicitly provided in the law.
Section 96 of the Gambling Authority speaks to an electronic monitoring system, to the machines and all that. But I guess a cursory look into the law would also point out to include all gambling industry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. PS, we are extremely friendly with you. Next time we will not be very friendly with you.
I appreciate that.
Please, but please look into it. It's also provided for in the law, as you hear. From here, go and check Baba issue the license. About issue banally this system. Baba's non system over a rights. For until they have that monitoring system, because they will talk about that. PS rationalization ya di ministry idregile ontse bua jalo gore di ministry le patela ga go le go dile thata le sentse maphata a mantsi How is the process complete? Have you completed the process, assimilation of those two ministries?
The process has not come to a conclusion, but we are nearing that. We have come up with what we think is an appropriate structure that will better represent the portfolio responsibilities. A substantial number of employees have been deployed or redeployed. The only department that I know of that we are still working on is Department of Agribusiness. Remember when in the old arrangement where we had entrepreneurship as a ministry, we had brought in some of the functions in illegal agriculture. Currently, we are in the process of identifying officers such that they are appropriately distributed between the Ministry of Agriculture and Tsarona. We have met the Ministry of Agriculture and the DPSM. So our expectation is that the exercise should conclude very soon.
Mabel?
Abatho botlhe ba se ba bone makolo a bone a gore ba tsena mo ministry o mošwa wa gago.
Ga se batho botlhe, because we are still.
How has that affected service delivery?
It has to a large extent because, especially in those departments where resources have not been fully redeployed, agribusiness, delivery has been hampered. But like I say, honorable member, the expectation is that we deal with this quickly because we're at a stage where we are advanced. And I have met staff, I make them regularly. Whenever agribusiness, I met their representatives. Whenever we are worried because of this extended process, some of them have actually, which we are addressing, some of them never got the interview and they were due for promotion or elevation. Because this process is taking longer, some of them may have missed the opportunity to be elevated.
What is the challenge? Why is it taking long? Canada Ministry announced about November last year, and then we are 2 months into the new financial year, 6 months into the year. What is this? Well, it's too early, PS. We're not trying to get angry, but what is this delay, PS?
I would say we are equally concerned, honorable member, it's taking long. But what I understand to be the cause of the delay, when the Ministry of Entrepreneurship was set up, certain functions were integrated into the portfolio responsibilities agriculture into the new Ministry of Entrepreneurship. They were subsumed, but what they were spread across. Some of the functions were actually spread across departments. So to disaggregate and to be able to say, when I will know how go cluster development, it took quite some time. All in all, there are about 150 employees involved. And I understand the latest development is that those that were affected by processing promotion have been written letters confirming, or the letters will be prepared confirming. I understand now about 7 of them, by the interview, letters have been recently sent to them. The technical level people. So I will be engaging them in the coming week again. They were there about 2 weeks at my office 2 weeks ago. And we have minutes supporting what we committed to.
All right, thank you. Thank you, PS. PS. Ke kopa le tlhatlosedi nao go bonya thata go a kere go na le batho ba or ba nne di authorizing ya le ba gore batho ba duelo mo gaps di company di a letsa rights ba itekang ba letsa ga ba ise ba duelo the last 2 months because you have not appointed those people. I get on PS.
In terms of specific, I wouldn't know, but I know gore ba leng gore we could determine what about agriculture. We communicated to the accounting officer there to appoint them.
Have you appointed when are all your departments this year?
Every request that came to me, all the appointments have been made, but
Mongami, PS. Please, you have to know your ministry like the back of your hand. You really have to. Like I said, it's too early. Please, this new thing. Because you when appoint them and finish this process. It's been too long. It's been 6 months already. Please. Please. I'm really trying to be nice.
Thank you, Honorable Madeo. Thank you so much, Honorable Diwa.
Yeah, still. PS.
Good morning.
I went through your executive summary. You said a lot about what you are doing as an organization. But one thing that is lacking are deliverables. Try to go through that. There is need for measurable targets to be clarified so that we see how far you are going in the development of this country. I actually wanted to know more about creation of sustainable industries and trade. Another area where I feel we should understand what you are doing is in terms of economic diversification. You know for sure that we are more reliant on diamond, which presently high rate. So we are relying on your interventions. We haven't seen much on wealth and employment creation. We need to see how much you are doing in those areas. As much as on the easy doing of business and global competitiveness. These are the areas that you should maybe clarify so that we understand your interventions and how helpful they are towards developing our country.
You want to comment on what you just said?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We value very much these observations, and we couldn't agree more. And that is why, Mr. Chair, in our freshly designed annual performance framework, we have done exactly as the Honorable Member is suggesting, or concrete deliverables, only targets, ambitious targets, if we really want to deliver on these noble objectives. We, on the ease of doing business, wealth creation. Wealth creation is a program thing that is funded by government. We make sure that, of course, there's a project also that is done in collaboration with DPS, Botswana Anglo-American, that is targeting businesses. But I can assure the committee that in terms of our new annual performance plan, we have come up with objectives, we have come up with key performance indicators, the target by so the initiatives, it is envisaged that they will produce certain numbers of jobs. And those are the targets that we have set ourselves, or delivered or brought in certain amount of investments from abroad and internally. So we believe that next year, this time, we'll be reporting something much more substantive when we appear before the committee.
Why specific on issues like economic diversification? How far have you gone? That was the question you were posing.
Well, in terms of economic diversification, I think the results have been mixed, because like we are talking about the entire economy,
yes,
not in our space. I'm aware that in the mineral space, because we also support them with the thinking, we do that through developing or advising on development of value chain and clusters. I would say we are still at the very beginning. We haven't seen much traction in that space here, economic diversification. That's probably the reason why we are still dependent on selling raw materials. But the success has not been as expected, owing to a variety of reasons, Mr. Chairman.
You have examples of, in the area of creating sustainable industries. Do you have examples of industries that have been created as for now?
I will use the SPEDU area because there I should be able to speak to specifics. When I company Oxygas go SPEDU, could we support this diversification drive through either support that is provided by SIDA or BDC? Honale the company the manufacturing stationery. While there are issues around whether government is supporting them in terms of that government purchasing power, but let's one the realization that they can actually improve and change the fortune stars Silvi area. That is why we are issuing a statutory instrument as government very soon to compel businesses to buy from the SPEDU companies. One of the companies said fund BDC. A good number of them, the Milk Africa, company Dirandi Hannes, a few others. At the same level, Chema has helped us at least to have a sense of how many same mayors on average are there. And this has actually helped us a lot in packaging what we will be launching in August, in July, because right now, having interacted labor in the same-mail, the informal sector, substantial interactions have been done with them. Those efforts, even in that space, because they were involved in formulating what will work for them. That's how this section or this category of potential businesses and diversify the dependence, the economy from dependence on diamonds. Me across sectors, in the hotel industry, for instance, I'm aware that our development finance institutions are helping. BDC has invested in a company in the Mawini area, Eira Mall, and currently they assist with conversations with that particular company. So in terms of specifics, I think that's what I can provide for it. Even though the success have been mixed, there are those that are promising, Honorable Member.
No, thank you. I have actually noted some fluctuation in your targets. Instead of shooting up, they fluctuate. For instance, the target for value of investment or domestic expansions was 3.5 billion in 2022 to 2023. Then it went down to 1.9 billion in 2023 to 2024. And then it increased in 2024 to 25 to 3.4 billion. What are the reasons for these fluctuations?
I'm aware the state of the economy affects, it's a contributory factor. Already the economy is not doing well, you are likely to get this. I would say 2022-23. 22-23, the statistics or the value of investment looks relatively better than in the year 23-24 because from 2022-23 we are coming from a lower base. COVID. So when the recovery sort of, I wouldn't want to use the word inflated, but because you are coming from a lower base and government has put it in some intervention measures, that's why the value of investment looked better than the year in it. So I think our target was based on the fact that the economic transformation, the ETRP, has put a lot of money into businesses. But the following year, because we knew that the same amount of investment would not be put in, the target was reduced on the basis, you no longer have that stimulus package. But of course, the ideal thing would be for targets to, if you want to improve, if you want to grow the economy, to be a lot more ambitious as you go forward. I agree with you absolutely. That should be the trend.
Okay. Are you aware of the challenges that are faced by youth and rural areas in starting a business because of the stringent loan requirements by the banks?
We are, Honorable Member, and earlier when I pointed out to the holistic look at how the ease of doing business, one of the things that even without having to change the laws, how apply la loan or how apply some of these services. Our register a company, for instance, today is it's a lot less. It's not even 1 error. How reserve a business, we just do it online. So we are saying, with embracing technology, and of course we are aware of some of a good number of our population, good pockets of our population have access to internet. To be facilitated, apply these services. Let us not have them fill mountains of paperwork. 1 page is enough for them to do it and send. So we are aware of that and we are attending to that actively. The performances of procurement, especially more SME, they are quite voluminous, the ITTs. An effort is currently underway, but PPRA, Bahokotsa Mukwa over the 4 months, Bahokotsa ITT, without devaluing it, so that even people that don't have enough resources could actually participate in tenders, especially at the SME level. Some of them don't even have money to go and buy stationery sale to come to submit their tender proposals. So, we agree entirely that something urgent needs to be done to simplify matters for them. And when they are technology savvy, we are working on how to make things easier for them. So those are some of the things that we are looking at, and we want them to be implemented.
How accessible are your extension agents out there? You can pick any district in Gamiland or Central District to indicate accessibility of your extension agent to some of the rural villages.
We may not cover all the districts in the manner that we would want, but Rinalelea, which is present, I think, in the main centers.
Let's take Soronga, Belsa. Do you have anybody assisting in those areas?
I don't think there's anyone physically there, honorable member, but what I was going to add, Kokore, our intention is to leverage on technology to be able to reach those people in areas that we cannot easily access physically. Kokore, this village connectivity project or program is intended to also facilitate this type of services. All the hotels, I understand, have been wired, have been connected to the internet. It may not be every locality, but where we think somebody can, in that area, go to check, or not even go there, there are small gadgets, are access the services. That's what we are looking for. Where we cannot be physically present, we will certainly use leverage on technology and to reach out to those potential customers.
Yeah, of recent, Botswana participated in the Dubai 2020 World Expo. And I just want to know, maybe to demonstrate challenge, to demonstrate tangible and measurable benefits that we derived from our participation there.
The Dubai Expo, Mr. Chair, I believe that benefits can be classified as tangible or intangible. I think Dubai Expo provided us with a platform to tell the Botswana story. I may not be able to measure the extent to which having participated in that forum, whether in terms of producing tangible results, it has done that. But what I'm aware is that people are much more aware of Botswana through all these efforts, through the expos, through other means, the global interactions that we have, through our sports ambassadors. And that is why lately, when we participate in these global events, it is important to take some of our well-known sporting personalities, because they are well-known to the world, as ambassadors. So the Dubai Expo, in my view, it has made people aware of where Botswana is and what Botswana is all about. And I'm aware that also that a few diamond sales were done there. A good number of people bought our diamonds at the time. But of course, we have to build on that. We have to build on that and participate even more. We may not participate physically. We may even set up a stall and participate visually. That has been done by other jurisdictions before. It may not have the same effect, but at least it will demonstrate that it will actually confirm your presence in the forum.
I'd like to follow up.
Just this one. You're talking about tangible. Just to get this one clear, you're talking about tangible and intangible outcomes arising out of the Dubai Expo. Yes, I hear you in terms of intangible outcomes, one of them being just creating awareness. But can you zero down to the tangibles? How much money did you spend? And what is the response in terms of monetary terms and in terms of investment? Tangible. We understand the other part, but now let's go tangible.
Mr. Chair, the tangibles in terms of the exact amount of money that was raised.
That was spent and raised, value for money kind of.
Yes, that's the pertinent question. But unfortunately, Mr. Chair, I don't have the specifics at the moment. I can find out quickly from my CEO, ITC, who led the Expo.
My thinking was that before you come here, you would have talked to him. This is a question that maybe you should have even anticipated.
I agree.
There are too many gaps there in terms of what you bring here. Honorable.
Me, Mr. Chairman, how much did you spend? Because I'm aware some of the officers were camped out there for like 6 months. But I paid them every day. Half of cabinet was also there, so the amount would be good. Is it possible to ask Mr. Chairman or provide information of when the secretariat go to buy Expo?
Yes. Pass the information to our secretariats in terms of how much you spent and the tangibles that are coming out of that expenditure.
We'll do that, Mr. Chair.
It's very important that we do know. Honorable, I think you are going
my last question, like you are saying, Mudula Stir, is on Leather Park. It has been years we have been hearing about this animal called leather. It's over 10 years now. We are starting this, And you know very well the challenges that we are facing in this country. There is a serious problem of unemployment and poverty. We had hopes that if you start up this leather work, it will help address some of these issues. Can you tell us what is actually delaying the leather work? Because we have enough natural resources. We can't compete with any other country when it comes to natural resources regarding the production of leather in this country. What are the challenges? Can you share with us the challenges so that maybe we can assist you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is one of the projects that has not taken off as well as one would have wanted. At some stage, there were questions about whether the project is viable at all. Remember, this project comes from afar.
Honorable, you say 10 years.
Yeah, over 10 years. I remember way back when I was at the Ministry of Finance, when they came to seek funding through a supplementary. It was the feasibility study had to be, I think, refreshed. There were issues about whether it will be a viable project, questions around feasibility. There was an idea of roping in a technical partner, which was unsuccessful. There was an issue around land, whether it was properly located. There was a funding issue, whether among the many priorities that we had, whether it could receive adequate funding because it had to compete with others. And of course, there were, along the way, COVID-19, where most of the project took a back seat in terms of the funding. And then there were issues around whether to deliver it through the conventional approach or through a triple P approach. And eventually, there was an issue where a candidate here delivery through the development manager approach. So all these contributed to these massive delays, which of course are not acceptable. We are equally concerned that this project doesn't seem to get started. Again, the intention was to revitalize the Lobatse economy and create jobs. And because we are a cattle country or we are a livestock country, we believe that the raw materials wouldn't be a problem. In what happened, the issue the tannery, where we take the used stuff in a lorry, there ought to be a tannery in order to support the leather pack. Total project here, Honorable Chair, it's a block.
We work harlogana mathata ke a le a me ta nna teng kana go ipehela go tsa go ithoboge.
Hey, the commitment is there is to deliver on this project because it can really change the economy all over. We are currently in active discussions.
Commitment goes with concrete actions taken. But how a development manager model, a triple P model, is it feasible? Is it viable? Those kind of questions are still lingering. Yeah. So, but anyway, I don't think we will have the project soon. So as far as you are explaining the bottlenecks, the challenges, etc.
That is the case, Mr. Chairman. But what I'm told, what I'm advised, Kaori, there's currently some preliminary work taking place. The fencing and debushing and clearing the plot, which started a few years ago.
A few years?
I understand it started in 2023. I'll have to find out.
It has taken 2 years.
No, sorry, I thought I have a problem.
Maybe I need to...
But I don't understand the challenges that the present. Can't we find time maybe to brief the nation or whatever about this situation? Because I think all over, people are waiting for this project. They see it as a way of addressing the challenges of poverty. And when you delay, people don't understand why they delay. So, we need to be briefed at parliament level.
Maybe the minister, it's a very important project because at one point it was estimated that at full operation it can create up to 7,000 jobs. But now the stories that are being told about it don't one's confidence in its viability and even the commitment that the accounting officer is claiming. But anyway, let's move on.
We continue throwing leather. You can imagine every day how many cattle are slaughtered.
Yes.
Goats, sheep, and all those things. and nothing is derived from this.
You are right, Honorable Dikwa.
So
I think-
it's a serious loss from the natural resources that were given by God, free of charge.
Yeah. It doesn't look like the accounting officer will be very helpful on this one. We will be pursuing it in our next engagement, but we will also take it up, Honorable Dikwa, I think with the minister responsible. Honorable Kekgonrele.
Thank you, Chair. Me re dumedise PS le team ya gagwe. Re le lebogele gore a be le lehatsatsi jeno. PS, let's talk chema. Worry chema as a loan facility has been closed. Maybe le ba ileng gore ba ne ba setse ba hilwe dikwalo tsa gore ba approvilwe ba ta bona madi. Wa rialo PS.
That is the commitment.
Thank you. Yaanong motho o ka botsa setšhaba ko ntle kwa sa tsietsega gore a ha e tswetswe as a loan facility go raya eng a go raya gore le lenaneo le tswetswe.
Through the chair, maybe let me ask the honorable member to let me understand the question. Lenano, do we mean the program or the idea of supporting this category of businesses?
Both the idea of supporting and the program that supports being chema.
In terms of context, the program as it exists as a loan facility has been closed. The idea, or the decision rather, is not even an idea. The decision is to convert it into a grant facility. And that is why those applications that have been approved and are pending financing are re-looked at in order to benefit under the envisaged grant. Earlier on, I indicated that the commitment to extend financing to those approved candidates or applicants is there. But the situation certainly has evolved. The price may have gone up. You may have probably submitted an application for 50,000 based on costing at the time you did the application.
Thank you, PS. Tsela re ke utula ta intshwarela ha ke go kgaole nako ke yone ya re sena nayo ha ngwe to be more elaborative go ta tsana konya. Me motho yo applyile a le go gae a applyetse chema me a isa goroge go staging sa go approviwa go no go sampo go le pending e bile gongwe form ya gagwe e se simololwe gore e ka libiwa mo nakong ya gompieno o mora o re lephata la go le mora le re
yo applyileng a isa tsene mo category ya tse di approvilweng tota ka se mo sentseng a teng gore a tla apply sešwa in the new arrangement.
new arrangement re soletsele.
It is expected that by July, end of July, the new program bill it be small or be approved.
There is, just a short while ago, when we super kahaileng gore ga gona madi a go duela ba ba hetseng ba approve. I get no real.
That's correct.
Me gape o ntse o bua gape ka seemo sa itsholela. Me wa re this transition into a grant e ka simolola ka July. I don't think this things add up. Ha no ga rena madi gompieno a go neela ba ile gore ne ba approve. What would have happened in the short 2 months, that will then allow for a grant to be given to people by informal sector.
Honorable member, what I meant, or what I mean, because July, it is expected that we will have a new program in place, a grant. The usual processes will be followed. The idea, the financing of this program, is DP12. So, they made applications and they are not at a stage where they have been approved so far. They will have to make applications under the new grant.
So July will be just an announcement?
July will be the launching of the new program here.
Right.
The funding will come or will be processed with other needs or other requests through NDP 12.
Right.
Chairman, tota ke batla go raya one mo go kana go accounting officer o tshwantse gore a tlhaloganya gore ya ka ga araba re mo reditse ka botswapelo mme kgantsa go gongwe di tshwantse tsa wela di ska tsa sala di kaletse mme ha botswa ka chema o supile gore ba gona madi ba go review di application tse di setseng di approve ya no gone go tse tshwantse gore nne gore kana ba go di review ka go leba gore a di price mo go tseneng di approve mo go tsona ga di a tshweletsega ya no tshwantse gore a nne specific gore ha di tshweletsegile go a go diragalang ka gore gongwe go tuse ka nna gore ga gona application e ta bonye ka busiwa ya turn off ka gore e setse approvilwe ya no gore ke batla go itse gore a me ha wa approvilwe ka 50,000 by then a gona le kgonagalo ya gore gompie ko ka hiwa loan ya 80,000 go lebilwe gore di price di tshweletsegile go le kae. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I think when a reassessment is made by the structures, what is eventually, whether the financial support will be granted or not, will be based on the merits, the particular application. I am hesitant to provide a guarantee for just funding here, even the relevance of the proposal at any stage, and a few other things. When your location where you are going to set up, that location is no longer available. You wanted to set up in a location where you think customers will pass through, or a car wash. That location is taken up. So that's why the commitment is there, but I cannot for certain say, how no, I place 50,000 there, no, because of the inflationary issues. The price of it go 80,000, you will get the 80,000. I wouldn't want to say so with certainty, but the commitment is there.
Thank you.
One more, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Me ka gore go na le ketsaetse go entsi mo setšhabeng go ntsha ketsaetse go ye are you amenable to releasing a saving climate directive, a press release to setšhaba to say this is what is happening ka chema le gone go ka itira mo lebakeng le le kae?
Certainly the ministry will be amenable to that. We will, during the course of the month, we will consult internally and our ministers and see which one will be much more effective in terms of communicating the intentions of government. Whether a press release whether ke saving gram, whether ke a program on radio. But what we can commit to ke some form of dissemination will be done to address these concerns.
Tlhaloganya gore batho ba le bantsi ba na le anxiety over this, particularly bone ba ba approvilweng, ba ba sa approviwang, ba batla go utlwa gore gate seemo ke eng. Jaanong a ke re o ne gore le ka tlhoka nako e kae to communicate just the information e o re e bolelelang tsatsi jele. How much time will you need to attend to the proposal being suggested?
I think by the end of next week, because you have to consult internally and see gore seemo ke eng, re confirm number tsa rona gape. By the end of next week, we should be able to communicate.
Should we take it that you are making a concrete promise that by the end of next week, you would have disseminated information about Chema, particularly for those Baba Nemba approve, so that this anxiety around whether I'll get help or I'll not, it is brought to an end?
Yes.
That's a promise you are giving under oath.
We are promising to disseminate appropriate information to deal with the anxiety about Botswana issues around Chema.
By the end of next week.
By the end of next week.
Thank you, Accounting Officer.
Let's talk Economic Inclusion Act. There are no regulations. It has not been implemented. You are reviewing it. Under the current circumstances, go na le bagwebi ba ba hagare ba ba botana ba bantsi ba ba lelang ka gore ba tswa kwa ba ba tsetse markete ba ba tsetse bogwebi dikgwebo tse leng gore ka ha molao di lebaganye le gore be di dirwa ke beng gae hela ke Batswana hela o bua ka bo metsi go a rekisa o bua ka bo methaba o bua ka bo go keneka o bua ka bo go aga o bua ka horticulture. Foreigners have taken over. Economic Inclusion Act haeta ine le gore ya go batresa ya go supplementa ha go dimo ha se leng teng gore setšhaba Batswana ba ka sireletswa mo dikgwebong tse le kgona go le kae under the current circumstances gore labe le sireletsa setšhaba.
The reality on the ground is that what has been intended, or what is intended by this piece of legislation, has not really translated into tangibles. Hence, the current efforts that are invested in compelling public institutions and ministries and departments who reka or to support Botswana businesses. These reservation schemes, the issuance of that statutory instrument, and the type of arrangement that we have made or are making, we will have a template that will force ministries to report on a regular basis. Again, we're not a catalog. For instance, in the Speedway area, not Speedway area, of course, it will be in the rest of the country. It's like the products, it's the production, the price lists, possible prices, what we will be able to track Rona through official economic empowerment, where we have installed a coordinator a few months ago and support technical staff. There will be a reporting requirement. First about quality for gradi mapat. Hore. They have been sensitized for re demand releva trade, the implementers of this law. Hore each month ba re supply ka information or report ya gore budget ya bone ba e dirisitse jang to support this particular imperative ya go reka mo Batswaneng o ya go supporta mo Batswaneng o ya go ha Batswana ditiro through the procurement
kgang e tona ke one licensing, kgang e tona ke two go enforcer, go diragatsa gore motswakwa ga a keneke ga a rekise mothaba ga age enforceability a o raya gore mo acting ya gompieno go a pala gore kana mo di tse di leng teng go a pala gore le be le na le unity kana a collective effort with other departments gore la be le enforcer the inspection tseo ha le italang teng le bona kontraka hela e buma le tsene ka unity eo le bone gore a mme ke ya Batswana ka gore tiro ye ke ya Batswana.
Honorable member, I think what we are seeing, we are quickly looking at our licensing regime and coordination. Agreba Motlhaba is treated as license tsa Motlhaba di ntshiwa ke Ministry of Minerals. Tse dingwe di ntshiwa ke ba bangwe yalo. We have committed to improving on the coordination. Rona really at the center because the business, we oversee the implementation of businesses. And how a better coordination and the licensing regime has changed, things will be a lot easier because co-ministry there is now an inspectorate unit, a fully dedicated inspectorate unit. It has just been made part of our new structure, where we will have dedicated personnel. But by inspector, we never had that in the past. We believe that is one of the ways of trying to do things better so that we deliver on this very noble imperative.
Inspectorate unit resolela re be simolola go bereka leng
as soon as possible. We will even rationalize our own.
The date. As soon as possible can be tomorrow, as soon as possible can be next year.
Given where we are, Mr. Chair and Honorable Member, it should be our structure was due to be approved last week, our organizational structure, but the meeting didn't take place. We will make sure that within the next month, this unit be in place. Like I say, we will rationalize the little that we have and place people there, at least to start.
We are not talking about an office in Gaborone. We are talking about a unit that will be spread nationally.
Eventually, and ideally, that has to be the case. Whether we rope in other ministries, that is being looked into as well. Later on, we spoke about the reality of budgetary constraints. That's why the starting point for us, at least to do what we are in control of, is to use the little numbers that we have. And then, of course, the expectation is that the structure will be replicated in the rest of the country as time goes on.
Thank you. Let's talk strategy for growing middle class in Botswana. do I fall within the middle class? how is it defined? Is it by income status? Is it by age? So go tlhalosetse motswana ko gae gore middle class ra ka ntse bo mang mme ebile gape e le gore what is the strategy of youth and rural populations in this growth strategy?
Thank you, Honourable Member. The strategy to grow the middle classes among those that we are actively looking at, it shouldn't be looked. These strategies are meant to be congruent, they are meant to support each other, they are meant to deliver on the same objectives. At the end of the day, Botswana that's the ultimate outcome. But it derives from the theory that the middle class can only drive economic growth. And of course, with the support of other stratas of society. And at the time it was conceived, because there are case studies elsewhere where other jurisdictions, other countries have been able to do that by targeting the middle class. And they are where they are because their efforts were invested in the middle class. But like I say, Honourable Member, now I would prefer a holistic approach where support is spread. Because I really whenever was more middle class, if you grow them, they will grow into that other category or even go beyond that. Method that was predicated on the fact that the middle class strategy, there were tangible case studies globally by devoting efforts to growing the middle class. This had the effect of growing the economy and creating.
I think you have made your point. Can you, last question, Honourable Cooperative?
He has not defined the middle class.
Last question, sir.
Thank you. Honali, the officer gets Poverty Eradication Officers, Wealth Creation Division. Hore bana le 10 years, ba bangwe ba le mo di contracting le lona, so like it's every 12 months or 2 years. But of recent, go HRDC, hota new graduates, baba hiriwang on permanent basis. Me babo neba, da on contract. Is it fair? Why was a similar baba mo 12 months, a year contract, turn them into permanent, and then at a later stage, how only departa level katsanamo babasha.
Thank you very much. County Officer.
Mr. Chair, I think it's only fair that those that are already in employment are looked at first. And that is why earlier on, Mr. Chair, I indicated that labor, we still have an issue here, transition by agri-news. For 10 to 15 years. For how to address this issue, we won't be addressing only a set of employees, Baba relaying. We want to do for everyone. Including whenever they are given these short-term contracts. So we want to assure the committee that we will look at this comprehensively and provide solutions for that.
May we have a report on it, progress report by end of next month?
We will do that, honorable member.
Thank you very much. I will have a few. First one is a follow-up to Honorable Dio's question on your mandate, which specifically states that you want to create and to know, I mean, how many industries would you have created up to now, categorizing them or classifying them in terms of large, medium, small-scale industries? Is there or share?
To give us time, Mr. Chair, we should be able to package that and bring it to the committee.
Yeah, but please package that because it's very important. In terms of these industries, would you have information as to where they are located? Is it like in the rural areas or in the urban centers? Is that also another piece that you may want to collect information in?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. We would want to be given time to
yeah, but quite clearly, have you realized that there's an absence of industries in rural areas generally? Like if you go around most of our rural areas, there are no industries. There is, and I think that one I say for a fact, that is there any strategy around making sure that this creation of sustainable industries also reach the rural areas?
That is the reality to be concentrated around urban centers. I think with would want to localize industry and support that. And then we will demonstrate what efforts we've put in to try to localize industries.
Yeah, in the past they used to have what they call rural industries promotion agencies, because then that was specifically targeting creation of industries in the rural areas. A specific structure that is maybe you want to think around that.
Absolutely,
because many of our people are in rural areas. This rural urban migration. And the I think you'll agree with me that we need a strategy there.
We do, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I was looking at page Roman figure 7. Roman figure 7 in your executive summary. You know, I look at these targets and I'm thinking that there has been a change of guard in Botswana in terms of change of government. I look at these figures and compare them with what the new government talks about in terms of the numbers, right? And I say, for instance, look at foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment, I see your target going to around 2.8 billion, 2024-25. Have you listened to the new government talking about foreign direct investment? And how much they hope to bring in terms of foreign direct investment?
We have, Mr. Chairman.
What are they saying? Does it compare with the 2.8 billion that I see here, or you'll give us fresh figures? What are they saying in terms of foreign direct investment?
The targets are substantially higher, but this one, just to provide context, AMO Roman 7, page Roman 7, numeral 7, Okay, what is the past?
Yes, it's okay, but I'm looking at 2.8 billion, 24, 25, but we are now at 25, 26. So I'm just saying, have you had, or have you tried to align yourself with what is being said by the new government? What are the figures? What figures are they talking about in terms of foreign direct investment?
100 billion annually.
100 billion?
Yes.
I've heard about 100 billion, yes. 100 billion in how long? You're working for this government, right?
We are.
100 billion in how many years?
Annually.
They say 100 billion annually.
I think that's the figure that I've heard, Mr. Chair.
Let's say it's annual, even if we say 5 years. But at this rate, where we have a target of 2.8 billion, do you think you'll be able to achieve this?
At this rate, we won't be able to achieve that. That is why earlier when I mentioned that we have come up with a refreshed annual performance framework with new targets.
Mm-hmm. What is your target for 25, 26?
I can't remember it off the cuff, but what I'm aware is that we have reoriented our APP to the new direction.
Yeah, but then you should know. I mean, we know 100 billion. We know your 2.8 billion. What is the refreshed target? Surely that you should know. What is the refreshed target in view of the fact that the new government is talking 100 billion?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. I can quickly check in our APP through my colleagues, because here the 100 billion speaks to the entire economy.
Yes.
The reason why I'm pausing for a moment is the FDI numbers we have reflected here are those that we have been able to generate through the businesses that were facilitated by the PITC.
So this is not a correct figure?
It is correct.
For the global, for Botswana?
I believe it needs to be looked at, because I'm aware that there are certain investments that may come through without coming through the BITC.
Yeah, you see, my issue here is that I'm just trying to check if you are aligned. And my sense is that you are not aligned to the new expectations.
We are absolutely aligned, Mr. Chair.
I'm afraid I don't agree with you. Because if you are now only talking about 2.8 billion, Lillian Ministry of Trade, and then you say, I think that you should generally and globally know those figures. And that is my take. So I'm worried about this. And I think your refreshed figures really should demonstrate that you are aligned to what is going on right now in terms of the change of guard. Absolutely. If that is not the case, then you have no business working for this government. Well, that is me, 2.8 billion, and then they're talking 100 billion, and the refreshed target is unknown. There's a problem there. Let me just go to another issue here, which I find very interesting. Number of jobs created. First of all, because you gave me a response before, the number of created jobs in 2024, 2025 is 22,000. Is this a global figure, or is just the jobs created in your space?
This is jobs created by the businesses that we facilitated.
Just the business that you facilitate?
That's correct.
Would you have figures of the numbers created globally in Botswana during that period?
We should be able to solve them from Statistics Botswana.
But don't you think it's important that you know?
It's important that we have
especially
a few of those.
Especially yourself, because one of your mandates is to create jobs.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, how sa itse wena tota go ka itse mang wena tota motho wa ditiro go ka itse statistics Botswana, so we should call them here. Say tota ditiro tse di creatilweng ka 24 25 di kae. Yes, what I say.
That's not what I'm saying, Mr. Chair. What I'm saying, because the authority that compiles statistics for the numbers that they produce.
But you should know those numbers, accounting officer. I think that will demonstrate that you are alive to what is happening around you in relation to your mandate. Or am I just being too hard on you?
No, it's a fair question. It's a fair observation.
I thought it was. I thought it was a fair question, given your location in job creation, that you should know what is going on. Just to refresh your mind, the new government is talking about creating 500,000 jobs in 5 years. Maybe you need to be reminded as you go about your business, so that then you should be able to get aligned very quickly to what is going on when we talk about jobs. Table overall, the targets are quite very unambitious, and they don't inspire hope that we may get where we are promised we will get to. The targets are not ambitious at all. But there is also the issue of cooperatives that I wanted to touch on very briefly. Cooperatives as a strategy for economic empowerment. It does look like cooperatives all over the place are falling apart. Is that your observation as well?
I would say we are aware that cooperatives are operating suboptimally.
Yeah, that's a
Hadidi reason.
reason.
And that's why we have invested efforts in revitalizing the subsector. Reba tuseka technology, reba tuseka even legal framework, try to make it easier for cooperatives to operate, instill good governance practices. We have a department of cooperatives that oversees what the players in that space do.
Let's say
we are aware, Mr. Chair. That is why currently we have started conversations. Even the idea of establishing again a cooperative bank is on the agenda, so that it can support cooperative societies or associations. Those dialogues are taking place.
Okay. Well, is in the offing, are you thinking around which years in terms of the cooperative bank? Is it like coming next year or after next? Or
the thing, Mr. Chair, the meetings have started now. We want to accelerate the process, because whenever set up the bank, Rona, we facilitate, we provide support.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Given your location, we can analyze some information around that, but it's okay. It's, we would have more questions, but we will just cut them to the last one here. Have you done a customer satisfaction survey lately? Where now you are trying to find out whether people you are supposed to serve are satisfied with your services. Have you done that?
And lately, not that I know of.
Don't you think it's important?
It is critical. Actually, it should be an annual thing.
It should be an annual thing.
I agree.
About employee satisfaction survey.
I may have to confirm with my team,
But if it was there, you should know it, man. You should know it if it's there. Employee satisfaction survey, just to find out if your employees, the 770 employees are...
Yes, it's a pertinent question, observation. I think because some of us are relatively new, we will hear the ministry started in January.
Okay.
So I only have 4.5 months into the job.
That's fine, but normally you're supposed to be informed. Unfortunately,
but we agree, yeah.
Person I've known for many years. Disclosure. Information which is worrying. I think next time when we interact, when we interact again, maybe you should also look at that. So let's have a tangibles, please, where we can.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay.
Just a quick one. I've noticed from the exchanges, peers, or there seem to be some impediments. So they affect deliverables. So they affect implementation. There seem to be so many strategies. Good, perfect. But they're not implemented. But earlier on, you indicated on a staff complement of about over 700 and about 12 departments. Those who directly report to you in your ministry, deputy peers or directors.
Deputy peers is because we have had to bring in entrepreneurship. There are 9 as we speak. People in the role of deputy peers. I grab on wiki economic boundary coordinator, honalwa EDD, honalwa EDD, economic diversification drive, honalwa economic empowerment, honalwa chief negotiator.
Is the leadership not bloated then? 9 peers and yourself?
That's why earlier on I indicated that as part of our transition activities, we have submitted what we think is an appropriate structure that will diminish or reduce the DPS level to, I think, 5. I believe it is the nature of the responsibilities, the portfolio responsibilities. That's why they seem to be, the numbers seem to be bloated. But the organization and method exercise that I mentioned, which will tell us how to appropriately place these portfolio responsibilities, we think will help us a lot in determining how to appropriately place people.
Will the roadmap that you gave mention to earlier take care of this? Because I think it's just too many hands and no deliverables at the end of the day.
We believe the efforts will help us, even though the roadmap to take state-owned enterprises.
Let's go for
the efforts. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Before you start, okay. Yeah.
Sorry. She will speak to the corrections as we go along.
Can we proceed?
Yes, please, sir. Maybe just yeah, let's wait you for a minute to settle. We are now all settled.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are Nkodi Bouquet. Re simole ka memorandum of progress. Report ya gare hela teng ono. Ha re ya ko page 1. Ke ne ke akanyetsa ya la gore la reng chief accountant. O bidwa chief accountant.
Yes, sir.
Hey, ne ke akanyetsa ya la ka gore ke bona mo di-comments tsa go o refa. A ke tswara ke dealt with or what is happening. Re toetse sekgowa sa dealt with. But otherwise, this page, the whole tables dealt with.
The middle one is memo.
Ma?
Yeah, Trini.
Oh, honale memo, yes. Thank you very much for that correction.
That is on page?
Honale memo mo page 1. Here we are. Tsone ka botsone ga dia kwalwa ka ha gore number 1, number 2, but ke ha gare ya number 3. Ha o bala 1, 2, 3. Ke ra mo table ya bobedi ke number 2. Yone re togelele memo, the rest dealt with. Page 2 dealt with. Page 3 dealt with. Page 4 dealt with. Page 5 dealt with. Page 6 table e go godimo eo dealt with. Area mo go ya C, recoveries of overpayment of salaries. Here number 1, Ishmael Mohambi. Let's close it. The page dealt with. Area go page 7, training bond liability. Ardumela hore mo table e go godimo eo, let's do memo. E go tase we close. Re tsamo memorandum of progress. Re ya go Auditor General's report. Page 8 we monitor. Page 9 monitor. Page 10 we monitor. Page 11 the whole tables we monitor. Page 12 we monitor. Page 13 we monitor. 14 we monitor. Yone ya 14 ntse ke yone ko 15 ko 16 le gone we monitor. 17 we also monitor. Page 18 we monitor. Dollar o dirisitse only 21% under expenditure ya development. Are go page 19 we monitor.
And what one maybe wants to note there is that you realize most of the departments were not using the development budget, and the normal excuse is that it was during the COVID time. So
yes, Chairman. That's how I like a conversation. Hey, Maria Terra will allow it. Me, reco page 20, it's what I call page 19, Kinsikune at page 21. Ra monitor. Page 22, monitor. Kinsikune go page 23. Page 24, we monitor. Page 25, Kinsikune go 24. Page 26, we monitor. Kinsikune page 27, page 28. Page 29, we monitor. Page 32, we monitor. Let's talk about 30 and 31. Page 32, we monitor. Page 33, on a paragraph 20, statement of recurrent expenditure, statement number 3. Year warranted provision dealt with. Table where export credit reinsurance fund, we monitor. Got the same movement of income and expenditure, we monitor. Page 34, we monitor table, then we monitor those figures. We monitor page 35. We monitor page 36. 37, table, we monitor. Statement 15, non-moving advance, dealt with. Page 38, we close. Page 39, we close. Page 40, the whole page, we close. Page 41, we close. The table itself, we close. Page 42 is memo. Page 43, from number 9 to number 19, we memo. 2021, we close. Page 44, we close the whole page. Page 45, we close.
Sorry, Chair. Page 44, we memo number 32. It was cleared in 23-24, say.
Oh.
Page 44.
Page 44, item 32, green packaging.
Page 44, let's memo number 32. Thank you, Maskopa. Page 45, from 33. No, let's close it, the whole page. Number 46, we close the whole page. 47, we close the whole table. Then
once again, Chair. Sorry, number 9 is a memo.
Oh, it's memo.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Number table ekota page 47 ekota and dealt with. It's dealt with. Page 48 we close number 1. Number 2 we monitor. Number 3 we monitor. Page 49 we monitor. Number 4 and 5. Number 6 we close. Page 50 we monitor. Page 51, we monitor. 52, we monitor.
Sorry, sir. 51, we close number 3. LDTCA. Bingo le sueño.
Of course, yes. Make you confuse the comments. Can I bear to stand as a charge to public funds? Otherwise, let's close it. Let's close number 3. Bingo Lechenyo, more page 51. An accountant general like and also the Masud. Page 52, monitor. 53, we monitor. 54, we monitor. 55, we monitor. 56, we monitor. 57, we monitor. 58, table eko dimo. Let's close it. Let's do memo. Araku 59, we close number 1 and 2. We memo 3 and 4. Page 60, on the table J. yet clear in let's memo it. Then table K, we close. The first one, Valentine Neo, a very dear memo yaha Bashi Mishak Mwich. That is the last page, Mr. Chairman. I submit.
There was supposed to be a correction which has been submitted to ourselves, but which we did not visit.
I thought maybe it would not be visible because of the photocopy. When I looked at it, I thought maybe you won't see it properly.
Oh, you thought it was not visible?
Yes.
Nyame, Raleigh Honorable City. It's our Accountant General, Auditor General, AGs, anything? That's right.
Nothing from us, sir. Nothing from us, sir.
Nothing from you. Honorable members? Thank you very much. It's our accounting officer. Sir Mahago. It's our Sir Mahago. He puts us in the parliament. How many suggestions? It's our Sir Mahago. O di dirisa. Go di dirisa go tlhabolola ka ha le tsamaisang ka teng. The purpose of this interaction ya be ile gone gore batho ba gone go bona ha ile gore gongwe ba ka tlhabolola teng. Yours is a very important ministry ka gore ke bona ditiro tse bana ba rona ba di tlhokang. Jaanong ta ra gore le oketse lobelo gore tse dintsi tse re ntse re lela ka tsone tse di kgonagale bana ba bereke. Tsa gore mo go tshwanang tse re di kopile ka ra di tlhoka ebile re ta di leba ka nako e tshwanetseng. Tsa gore di tata ka nako. To us as the PAC, really, this is not just a routine fixture. Re dumela gore in the next 5 years or the next 4 years, in the next 4 years, ha re tabo re ntse re le mmogo go raya gore re tabo re ntse re bona tswelelopele ngwaga le ngwaga. We intend to reproduce dipotso tse mapalamente ba di boditseng ha re tsena mo the next session. Re di reproducetsa gone gore mopalamente le ena a itemo gore na a boditse dipotso di arabiwa jang ha a batla go di boelela a di boelele re itse gore tsamayang. That's what we intend to do. Mme re dumela gore ha re dira jalo re tabo re ka kgona go tracer progress. Le lona hela jalo re tla tracer progress ka ko. O tona malo ona bua ka selo a re gona le go ha the dashboard. And dashboard yo a ke yone go thusa gore o itse gore nya mine ke le ha yana ke tsamaga ke akwa. Yana ke re le lona gongwe le ele thoko gongwe le nne le yone dashboard gore dikgang tsa lona se ka nna nna tse go teng re tata re lebelela nya mo pipeline mo hela jalo ha go nne go ntse go ntse jalo mme ke tsaya gore re buisantse e nnile puisanyo e molemo e tla nna le maduo mo setšhabeng. Ke a leboga accounting officer ke tsora ona le sepe se o batlang go se anela.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and honorable members. Ke go leboga hela. I think the exchange was quite enriching. In some instances, it made us aware of the extent of, the information, the completeness of the information that we should bring to the table. I think you are Auditor General, Accountant General, in terms of what details are likely to be wanted by the committee. And because we do have the details, it's only that they have not been packaged as part of this pack.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Yeah, me Collins in the Thank
you, Mr. Chair.